Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tuts, and in this lesson we're going to go over while loops in JavaScript, and a while loop is just a different approach to looping. So we're going to be using this while loop to accomplish the same exact thing we accomplished previously with this for loop. I'm going to comment this out, and I did that simply by selecting all of this code and doing command / and that's in Sublime Text. As long as your syntax is set to JavaScript, it should handle that no problem. Otherwise, you can put these 2 / before each line, and it will comment it out, and therefore, not run this code like we went over in the commenting video. And so what we're going to do to start this while loop is the first thing we need to do is define I. So if you remember in the for loop, we defined I within the for loop right here. For the while loop, that's not how we do it. We have I, and I is equal to 0, and now we can say while, and then in parentheses, we can say the condition. So before the condition was the second thing passed, now the condition is the only thing passed. So we're going to say while I is less than mylist.length, then do what's in these brackets. Now, I'm going to warn you that while loops aren't auto-incrementing like these for loops. I mean the for loops are auto-incrementing because we said I++, but this while loop, if we were to simply put this console log in here like this, it would output the very first item in here from now until infinity, because this is never going to increment. So it's extremely important. That you have some sort of condition that's going to update the variable that's checking in some sort of way. So here we need to say I++, and now this, after it console logs, it's going to increment I. Now, like I said, if we didn't have this, it would just loop on forever and subsequently crash your browser. So don't let it do that. Basically, working with while loops, it's easy to make a mistake and have the loop run infinitely. And that is just going to cause a lot of problems for you and make things no fun. So make sure, before you test this code, that this condition can be met somehow. It can be that I will eventually not be less than my length. And that just is something that comes with while loops. So now if we save this, we'll step through this. So what the program does is it hits I, and I is equal to 0. Okay, so now it's saying while I is less than mylist.length, which it most certainly is, console log the position in my list with the index of 0, which is going to be the first item, and then increment I by 1, and now it's I less than my length. Okay, so it's going to keep doing that over and over again until I has reached, until I is greater than my length. And now let's run this in the browser. And you'll see nothing's changed. In fact, you may not even know, anything ran, because it's doing the exact same thing we're doing here. In fact, if we uncomment this code, we'll get the same thing twice. So this is equivalent to this. Now, another approach we could use for this condition is we could check to see if my list at whatever given index actually exists. So if you'll notice, I'm going to do a console log here. I'm going to comment this for loop back out. I'm going to do a console log, and it's going to say my list, and then in the brackets here, I'm going to give it an index of 10. And I'm going to say look for the, which would be the 11th item in the array. Well, there's not 11 items. So what do you think is going to happen? Well, we run this. You'll see it's giving us this undefined, because that item does not exist yet. It has not been defined. It is undefined. Now, if this while loop, if the condition comes back as undefined, this while loop is going to stop running. So instead of checking to see if I is less than my list.length, here we can actually just say my list and then I, like this. Because what it's going to do is it's going to get to the first item in the list that doesn't exist, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to get to the 6th index. Well, I mean, it's really the 7th index, but the index 6, and it's going to look it up, and it's going to come back undefined, and that's going to cancel this loop. So let's go ahead and get rid of this console log right here. And just looking at this, it saves you a little bit of typing. It's clean and it looks nice. So let's refresh our page here. And we have the same results. So that's awesome. And in fact, if we uncomment out this for loop and we just copy this line right here, this my list I right in here, just like that, we'll refresh, it works there too. So this condition basically needs to come back true for this loop to keep going. Because if you remember when we did conditionals and if statements, you were checking to see if something was true. And so here, as long as this is true, it's going to keep looping. As long as this is true, it's going to keep looping. But once this is equal to something that comes back as a falsy value like undefined, it's going to stop your loop and kick you out. So these are while loops, and use them, try them out. Just make sure that your condition can, of course, be met at some point so that you can exit your loop and not have a situation where you're crashing your browser. So try them out, see what you can do. As always, this is Scott with Level Up Tuts. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment on the video or hit us up at Twitter at Level Up Tuts. We're on Facebook. We're all over the place. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Bye.